Good afternoon, financial professionals. My name is Jennifer Nadeau, Case Design Specialist here at E4 Insurance Services, welcoming you to The Brew, building relationships every week. For those of you tuning in for the first time today, we like to kick off the Brewcast by celebrating what today's National Day is. And today is National Teachers Day. It's also National have a cup of coffee with a cop day, and it's also National Do Something Nice Day. So I think we helped you out before. To do something nice for someone, you can not only have a cup of coffee with a cop, you could buy it and maybe buy one for your kid's teacher too.
Wow.
I know,
That's great.
um, Jeremy will be discussing today. Jeremy Vidmar is joining us today from E4 Insurance Services, and he will be discussing the life insurance decision matrix, a very powerful tool that can help clients into action when you're discussing financial planning with them. I would like to remind everyone to please feel free to use the chat box to ask questions or share comments during our time today. And also, this session will be recorded and available for viewing, and we will be doing a drawing, as always, at the end of the Brewcast, and the announcer will be announced and the winner will be announced at the end. Thanks for joining. And Jeremy, welcome very much for joining today. So happy to have you on the Brew.
Yeah, Jennifer, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here and look forward to going through the life insurance decision matrix.
Yes,
So, yeah.
The life decision insurance matrix. Let's start it out with telling us what exactly it is, please.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the best way that I can describe it is it's a tool for your toolbox. It's not necessarily something that I would say you're going to bring up in every client meeting or even with a lot of your clients. I think it could be something that, you're sitting at a restaurant or a bar, you could draw it on a napkin, which I think it can be very useful. But the place that I kind of see it a lot of times is actually for ourselves. I think as financial professionals, it's easy to kind of get into the silo and not look at some protection opportunities that are out there. And so for ourselves, going through the matrix is really an opportunity for us to step back and just, easy decision making matrix can kind of take us to a place where, some of the things that are outside of the places we normally look could be brought into the planning that we're doing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see it. Can you give us an example?
Sure.
Great.
First off, yeah. Let's just go through the matrix, I guess. First off, disclaimer is that no good idea is original. I did not come up with this. I saw this presentation, but I think it's a really powerful tool.
I call that liberating. You liberated it, Jeremy.
I liberated it. That's right. There we go. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, you can see it, bought it on the top here, bought it, didn't buy it. So those are the two decisions that we kind of have. And then on the side is really kind of the consequences, if you will. I needed it or I didn't need it. So that's how we set this thing up. And if we look at the first box, bought it and I needed it, how would we kind of describe that? I think we could all say that was a big win in many respects. And I think one of the other things I'll say just as we get started too is life insurance is certainly part of this, but long-term care, disability, it all kind of falls in the same category. The next box that we'd want to look at is, what if I didn't buy it and I didn't need it? And if we really had to describe that, I think a good word would be lucky. In the grand scheme of things, that's what, if we didn't need it, we didn't buy it, well, we got lucky. The third box would be bought it and didn't need it. And in that situation, I think we could describe that pretty well as a little mistake that we've made. Again, traditional use of insurance, whether it's term, replacing income, or disability, long-term care, for what we're putting into the plans, a lot of times it's a pretty little mistake. What happens if we didn't buy it, but we needed it? And I think the best way to describe that is really a big mistake. So that's kind of the way that this the matrix starts out. I mean, there's another step to this, but that's a big win, big mistake, little mistake, or we got lucky. So that's the
Yeah.
beginning of it.
Thanks for that. And, as you were going through that, it reminded me of an example that I had learned. I think it was in a sales training class where it really puts things into perspective outside of what were the product, if you will. And,
Sure.
and let me give an example. They used an airplane analogy, and I thought it was pretty powerful, just like this. And the example they gave is, let's say you're getting into an airplane, or when you do get into an airplane, and the flight attendant comes on and gives the emergency instructions.
Mm-hmm.
And what's everybody doing? Looking at their phone, reading the thing
Sure.
in the back of the
Sure.
pocket, not paying attention, right? But
Yep.
then fast forward, let's say the plane does have an emergency and the flight attendant comes on with those emergency instructions.
Yep.
I think we have a better pay attention rate with
Sure.
that. And it just
Yep.
really puts things into perspective like this when you're not
Sure.
sure, I don't want to make
Sure.
a big mistake. So,
Yeah, well, and
um,
here's just kind of taking this a step forward is when we're going through this exercise is saying, okay, which box would we want to what's the least desirable box to be in? And if we number these 1 through 4, I
right.
mean, just Jen, I mean, which box would you least like to be in?
Well, I definitely don't want to make a big mistake,
So
obviously.
if we had to rate them 1 through 4, 4 is going to be the box we want to be in the least, right? We don't
Right.
want to make a big mistake. And I mean, as an advisor, um, you know, this is a place that we don't want our clients to be in. It's certainly not a place that we want them to be in for the sake of, I mean, sometimes I think about it from the standpoint of, well, am I going to be on the GoFundMe page? That's not a place where you want to publicize your name because you didn't put those protection plans
Yeah.
in place
Yeah.
for your client. So
Yep.
4, big mistake. We definitely don't want to be there. What's number 3?
Of
What would you think?
the least one
Yep.
I want to be.
Yeah.
I think lucky.
Yeah. And I mean, some people kind of go back and forth on this and they say, well, maybe a little mistake or lucky.
Yeah.
And I think again, if we're playing blackjack or we're, betting on a horse or something like that, we might say lucky is a good place to be, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a spouse who's living on, or children, a home, a mortgage, groceries. Um, we don't want to be in the lucky category, and we certainly don't want our clients to be in the lucky category. So that's number
Right.
3.
Right.
How about number 2 now? This is a little tougher.
Yeah, my choice is big win or little mistake. I want to be a winner.
So would
oh
you?
no, I'm
So
sorry, least favorite,
yep,
little mistake. Yeah.
little mistake.
I
Now
don't like
keep
mistakes.
keep in mind, then you're putting number 1 as a big win. Now the consequences of a big win is that somebody has either died, they've been disabled, they've needed care as they've gotten older.
Right.
Um, so big win is actually, I mean, when we step back and think about it, that's number 2. The place that we really want to be in first is going to be a little mistake. We want to be in the box of a little mistake. Now, um, interestingly, in all of the 4 boxes, the places that we want to be are the top 2 are where we bought it. And I think, prevailing wisdom suggests that we should buy it, and we should have the confidence knowing that we're not going to make the big mistake, and we're not going to lie awake at night hoping and praying that our luck continues.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a simple chart. It's a simple sort of exercise, um, just giving us some perspective on whether or not to buy some insurance, put that in
Yeah.
place in our portfolios. So
Yeah, no, I think it's great. It keeps it simple. And, as I mentioned before, that airline analogy in this as well, of really putting it into perspective. So I appreciate that. I know that you have a story
Yeah,
that goes along with one of these.
well, yeah, I mean, I have a simple story, a recent one, unfortunately, that was unfortunately in box number 4, and it was the process was started, the insurance was applied for, and the underwriting was complete, but we were working with the advisor and his client to try and figure out how to issue it and all of these sort of things, and it was just dragging on and on because other priorities came up, and unfortunately, the gentleman had a health event that now disqualifies him for any insurance. Unfortunately, he's okay in this situation, but again, it just highlights that you know, the consequences of indecision can really be a big mistake. And
Yeah.
this tool is an opportunity to just sort of highlight that. And it also just highlights, I think, that we want to take luck out of the equation as much as possible, and leaves us in the number 1 and 2 boxes there.
Yeah, and I like how you said how indecision can be a big mistake. That really puts that into perspective too. I wrote that down actually. So thank you for sharing that.
You bet.
Great example. I almost said success story, but
It's not a
it's a
success.
great
No,
example. Yeah,
it's not a success. Yeah.
great example. So looking at the time, we will open it up for questions, but before we do that, as I mentioned before, you can view this brewcast and all of our brewcasts on our company's website at e4.insurance. And we will do our drawing now. Jeremy, if you could pick a number between 1 and 15.
10.
Number 10. Oh, Lori Tandy Wentz, congratulations. Be on the lookout in your email for a CE voucher and also a Starbucks gift card coming from all of us here at E4. Congratulations, Lori. Well, certainly, Jeremy, if anyone would like to use that decision box or even go through it and you sort of role play, you are available as well as
Yep.
everyone else here at E4. Excellent.
Yep.
All right. Yep. I'm not seeing any more questions. So thank you everyone for joining today. And thank you so much, Jeremy, for going through that with us. Very beneficial.
Thank you. Hope
Join
you have a great
us.
day.
Yeah, absolutely. Join us next Wednesday as we welcome Brent DeGroot, Regional Vice President with One America. Brent is coming on to discuss how qualified funds and long-term care planning is becoming one of the fastest growing ways of funding in that marketplace. So we're very much looking forward to having Brent. Thank you again, everyone, for joining. Congratulations, Lori. And we will see you again next Wednesday on The Brew. Have a great week.